Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to Roleplay Chat.
We're two game masters who can't stop talking about role-playing games.
And today we're giving the short version of the Q&A of last week, which is about trust and information that players should or shouldn't share with their game masters.
So today we're going to go through 4 layers of information that the players at your table can share with you, and that can give you information about how much they trust you. How much do you think they trust you, honestly?
Yeah, and once they give you this information, it will help you prepare your game in a more interesting way. So what's the first level of information players can share with the game master to show that they trust them and help them prepare?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. It's just telling the game master where they're going next, right? If at the end of the game, you say, as a game master, you ask your players, all right, guys, you just finished up in the cave. Where are you going next? They say, okay, we're going to go to the town. That within itself is pretty good.
Yeah, it's worth something. It's going to help prepare, at least you're going to prepare the town. Some NPC is going to help you. And this is the level that almost every table have. If you don't have that level, you might have a little problem on your hand. Assuming the players know where they're going, obviously. Second level is about saying, what are they trying to do? If they tell you about their objective and what are they going to do at this? Oh, I'm going to the city, to the village because I want to gather information on the ogre that's walking around.
So that within itself gives you some preparation, right? You can say, okay, now I know that they're interested in that seed that I planted 5 games ago. I better start developing it. I better start knowing where the ogre is going. Maybe there's a villager who saw them, blah, 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 blah. You kind of think of a bunch of different tidbits of information that can help feed into that. So the next thing that you're going to want to ask them, and now we're starting to test the trust of our players here a little bit, is how do they plan on getting that information? What's their strategy?
Yeah, this will give you a lot of information on where are their head at. If they say, I'm going to go talk to the blacksmith we've established a rapport with to try to see if he has information. Or to the criminal underground leader who I know is well connected and probably will have information. And maybe they have different ways, different aspects, different people they want to talk to. Maybe they want to just go on a specific location to investigate maybe the paws in the ground or something like that. And by doing this, they give you more ammunition for good prep.
Yeah. And let's take that example that you had with the underground gentleman, the Thieves Guild leader or something like this. You know, when you think of that, if that's what they're really going to try to do, you can start to think about how you might integrate the other player characters into that kind of information gathering. If there's a rogue, odds are the rogue's going to be leading that conversation. How do you get the cleric on board? How do you make it engaging for the player who's playing the monk? You know, there's other classes, other character types that might not be interested in doing that and spending an hour and a half talking to the leader of the Thieves Guild and doing a mini side quest for them, robbing the clergy of the town.
Ooh. Yeah, and knowing that, you can put NPCs that relate to the other players or event that happen that will really engage the other players that are not specifically targeted by what they were trying or the way they were trying to tackle the problem.
And Chris, do you want to go into the last one?
Yeah, let's do the last one. The last one is very interesting, and that's more of a touchy subject, is having the players tell them their secret plans, their mystery, the betrayal they're trying to do, the deception they're trying to do. So if we take the example of the criminal underground leader, maybe they're going to try to deceive him in giving them the information.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to try to intimidate him, or maybe, I don't know, blackmail him. And by knowing how they're going to try to do this, maybe this change, this betrayal, can be a source of a lot of discussion.
Yeah, I mean, they could come up with a really cool plan to deceive them, blackmail them. Let's go with that one. They blackmail them. They succeed. Wow, it's really cool. It comes up to be a really dramatic, really intense moment. But if they fail, if you didn't know that that's what they were trying to do, and you have to improvise this leader of the underground criminal world in this town, how they're going to react to realizing that they tried to blackmail you, you're going to probably have a pretty big knee-jerk reaction. You're going to call all your guards. You're going to send them to jail. You're going to do something pretty miserable. And it's hard not to make the game come to a halt. So if you have the time to think about it, to come up with a way to move the story forward, maybe he finds out and he goes, how did you learn that information about me? And try to segue into a neat quest where maybe he sends them to bring that information source to them. And now they have to go bring an NPC that they trust to his doorstep alive and send him off to God knows what fate. That's an interesting way for failure to really propel the story forward.
Yes, and it's very engaging and it makes everything interesting. But you have to be very careful on that level not to use this information against the players, because that's what's going to break trust. So as you get higher, I guess, with the numbers in those level of trust, this is the hardest one, I think, to keep, because you don't want to use the information against them, but at the same time, if they fail, you want to have an interesting consequences. And we also touch here on what we call the Schrodinger effect, which is just knowing this information might, without you wanting to, might affect the way you react to things.
It's a challenge, right?
It's interesting if it's for the story, but sometimes you're not quite sure.
And I feel like this is where a lot of people start to say it's probably not the best idea to learn about the battle plans, right? So I won't get too much into it, but I think I agree with this. For the most part, sharing is caring. Sharing is good because it allows the game master to prep an interesting story. But in the sense of a simulation of a combat of sorts, maybe it's better for the game master not to be aware that the players are setting up a tripwire in hallway B where all the guards are going to rush out, because because of this Schrodinger effect. So just something to keep in mind. Yeah,
so you might just want to take a walk once they start planning
grab a beer,
the tactic, but the strategy is good to know.
So I hope these 4 layers of trust and these 4 types of information that you can get your players to share with you was helpful. I hope it helps you in your prep. And, if you're finding that your players don't want to give you this information, that's okay too. Don't push them. You might want to say, hey guys, I'm trying, to make the story more interesting. Do you mind telling me some of this stuff? Let's see how much you're comfortable giving me. And, I'm not here to put sticks in your wheels. That could be an interesting conversation to have. But, I hope it's helpful. And if it wasn't, or if you have other thoughts and comments, please let us know. You can say so down below in the comments, or you can reach out to us on Twitter. That's at roll_play_chat.
Or we have an email. That's contactroleplaychat@gmail.com. And we hope to see you next week.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about? Who knows?
Maybe seed and hooks?
Maybe.
We'll see.
We're not promising anything. Fantastic. Well, let's see everybody next week. Right, Chris?
Right, Matt.
Let's call it a chat.